For the last 2 months, we've made a lot of changes. Changes we thought had finalized the film. But every time we thought we were done, we realized there was more to push, more to refine, more to get right. Now we began this project as a fan trailer, something small and something to release under a couple of months. But over time, it became something else entirely. The ideas kept expanding, and instead of pulling back, we leaned in. What started as a passion project years ago has become a film that combines elements of what it's earned over the last couple of years, while also developing new ideas, expanding what was originally brought up. Now we've never shared any details about the story, and we've kept most of those ideas under wraps for a reason. However, in this video, you'll be hearing more about our pitch, giving you guys a more clear look at how we're going about this.
One year after the events of Season 1, a guilt-ridden Peter Parker lives his life as an average, everyday sophomore at ESU. Peter tries to live his best life alongside his closest friends Harry Osborn and Mary Jane Watson. However, moving forward is easier said than done when his past life as Spider-Man is a constant reminder of his failure to protect the ones he loves. We took inspiration from how this show is structured alongside looking at our antagonists from a grounded perspective. Many things changed within that year gap without Spider-Man as criminals began to form and expand their own operations with ambitions that never really had room to breathe while he was still active. The Scorpion Gang serves as the lead antagonist for Part 1 after Spider-Man is cut out of the picture. The underground gang, led by Mac Gargan, take advantage of the city while also having other eyes being aimed at them from the shadows by another vigilante. Part 1, Sins of Responsibility, serves as a character study centering on Peter's internal battle with grief and the cost of putting the mask back on. We're still introducing other characters prominent to the story, but we kept a close eye on Peter because there's a lot of loose threads that were never tied since the finale. Part 1 and Part 2 are stories about cycles of pain and how pain passed down becomes pain passed forward, how the people who hurt others were almost always hurt first. It's about the weight of blame and who really deserves to carry it. Underneath all of that are harder questions. Does understanding why someone broke make what they did forgivable, and does knowing their pain excuse what they do? Parts 1 and 2 were written during a very difficult moment in my life, where I was questioning my self-worth and learning to adapt and grow to enjoy what I was doing again. It also helped give me some sort of path to find my purpose as well. I've always wanted to lean towards writing a very human version of Peter Parker in all of my projects. The idea came from USMC and went on, and none of those versions have reached the pedestal that this version of Peter is here. I didn't just write this to make a great story, I wrote something I would have loved to see going through those hard times, and I really hope it can make some of you get out of that hole I have been stuck in prior.
I originally joined as a creative consultant for the project, but soon my vision shifted towards 3D modeling. Dylan and I spoke about potentially improving the quality of the models. I had started by working on Daredevil, which showed a lot of promise, which eventually led me to working on Spider-Man. There had been a lot of concerns within the team that the model wasn't looking as accurate as it possibly could, and with me having experience working on a TNAM model prior, naturally I was the one for the job. The model was originally created by Fred Pashy, using a software called SoftImage. Fred Pashy created a model sheet and had uploaded it to his ArtStation. This became the perfect reference point for my sculpt. After Dylan and the team approved the model, it was on to Reed's apologizing. A process that many 3D artists are very familiar with, and can be quite the hassle. However, thankfully I had done the Daredevil model, which was easy to reuse and modify. Then I moved on to textures and shading, which wasn't nearly as bad as I thought it would be. I started by doing a rough pass of the webs, and then moving to Substance Painter to finish them. Thankfully, due to having already made a TNAM model, I only had to do slight alterations to my original shader. The only thing left to do is to set up shape keys for eye movement. I hooked them up to drivers to control both the lens and the frame, which would be easier for animating, and that was that.
So Justice and I have been talking about this sober the last couple of weeks. When the original team was working on the show in 2003, there were a lot of restrictions around designs and clothing for the characters. Times have changed and now we're able to redesign some of them with new outfits, new hairstyles, and more. For examples, for how far we'll be taking this, here's photos of Peter and MJ just to show how far we're taking things from the original team left off. It's been a year since the events of season 1 and the characters have changed a lot since then. That's where we leave it up to you. There will be a YouTube poll shortly after this video goes up, and if you want to see a redesign or keep the OG look, go vote and let us know, because after all, it is you guys watching this, and we're kind of torn in between both sides, and we totally do not mind whether we do the OG or redesign. I think when it comes to more of the redesigns though, it really shows off more a little bit about the characters and what positions they're in since the finale.
So when VALIO approached me a couple of months ago to help out with music, my initial plan was pretty straightforward. Get as close as possible to what John Digweed would have done back in the early 2000s. You know, that era of music you'd hear on a Bedrock or Global Underground set felt like the round foundation to go for. But when the plan developed into something larger, a two-parter instead of a single trailer, I realized this wasn't just a bigger version of the same idea. It was a different kind of opportunity entirely. I could still honor that Digweed sound, but I could let it become something that only makes sense in the context of TNAS. Part homage, part evolution, part something I don't think has fully existed before. So with that context in mind, the direction shifted towards giving it a sort of cinematic TNAS-y type sound. Holy Grail, 2026, John Digweed. I'm sorry, I can't describe it otherwise. What I mean is this. Take that early 2000s trance backbone and give it some more of that cinematic feel to really convey what emotions we want to establish within the scene. An example of this is a theme I published not too long ago, and that theme is the extended prelude, which you might have heard on the TNAM preview EP, which I'm so grateful you guys are showing all the love and support for on all streaming platforms. This theme combined elements of TNAS while also trying new things I learned back while I was working on Ultimate Spider-Man Continued, to give it that crisp cinematic feel whenever you had heavier moments in the film. Now here's a comparison between two tracks made before and now. So as you could hear, it's not so much about recreate the themes, and more so, how can I have you guys feel for the scenario while also giving you guys what you loved from the OG themes. I also want to give huge props to our sound designer, DistordedSonido, because he's been killing it with the sound design. That's a sandbox I'm really playing in with VALIO right now. Having two parts instead of one gave me the room to actually chase the ideas properly. Thank you to everyone for the support. The team and I are all truly grateful to have community like you guys. We're honored to even have the chance to showcase what we believe to be our vision, and we're working as hard as we can to make sure you guys love it too. None of this happens without you guys sticking around, sharing this, and believing in something that started as just an idea and a small team trying to figure it out as we went. We're not trying to rush this out just to have something out. We're trying to build something that actually deserves the time you're going to spend watching it. So thank you, genuinely. These two parts are shaping up to be some of the biggest and most ambitious work we have ever done. However, With all this in mind, 2 parts might not be enough to hold what we're building. I'll leave it there for now.